You had mentioned sort of incorporating some of these elements into the live show, and I was looking at your rig, and I'd like to kind of go through it because I've seen everything from a sampler to melodic percussion to hand percussion, and then a traditional drum set. And I'm assuming it's funny you mentioned Mike Portnoy. I'm assuming in your phase of digging on him, that's where you got some of your double bass chops together. Tell me a little bit about sort of the more recent setup with all that the gadgetry.
Cool. Yeah, the kit is the drum set aspect of it isn't too crazy. It's like two racks and a floor.
Right.
I'll use a snare and most of the time have a side snare, second snare to the left, and just a couple of cymbals, like a stack down in the center, and two crashes and China. So nothing too untraditional there. But then it's been a theme of the band since before I joined that there's a lot of percussion
Yeah.
and other sounds. So I have a Doombeck drum to my left that I'll play only with my hands.
Right.
Next to that, I have the Roland SPDS pad for electronic stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes the set list will call for some other things. I just brought back, because we were playing some songs we haven't in a while, a big like tubular shaker looking thing,
Yeah.
big cylinder shaker
Yeah.
that I'll use on a couple songs. And almost every show starts off with like shaking a lot of bells, and I have like the tambourine stick I'll use. And another song that we played recently that I had never played with the band before had on the recording like glockenspiel bells
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
So I found one of those on Craigslist, and like I'm like we're playing the song, I need to play the part, so I put that next to the kit. But I won't bring stuff like that out unless we're going to be playing the songs that it's necessary for. And then aside from that, it's a sort of acoustic set. We call it hybrid, where we'll play almost all acoustic instruments, but some of the stuff will have electric instruments. I'll play some other hand drums. There's a small drum that's a South Indian frame drum called Kanjira.
Uh-huh.
I'll play that sometimes with that setting. Yeah, it's just like on the same tangent. It's the sort of thing where I've always wanted to get into more world percussion, but it's never quite made sense because I never had a place for it.
Right.
Now with this band, it's like, oh, I can pick up some drum from India, and it makes sense with the music, you know.
Absolutely. Did you get it all into studying tabla players and this and that? Because I know some of those rhythms you were kind of talking a little bit about it. I had a roommate that played tabla and sarod, and I kind of regret not picking his brain more so when I was living with the guy as to sort of some of the counting that goes on with tabla and the whole voicing, and like it's a very very different world. And I think as far as guys that I know of or that I could think of off the top of my head that have kind of gone into that tabla world and brought it back to the drum set, Benny Greb is one, as is Danny Carey from Tool.
Oh yeah.
And both of those guys are really have a crazy mastery of time, and it's one of those things where I think you could attribute at least some of that to their delving into that world of counting and everything.
100% agree, man. I regret not learning how to play tablas. I have a set of tabla drums, and I took, I think, 2 classes. I was trying to get into a college course, and I wasn't able to sign up for it. It was full. I sat in on a couple, and it didn't work out that I could get in. And I never took any more lessons or took any other direction. I know like the very basics, but
Yeah.
I wish that I had tried harder maybe to get into that course and study, because I'm totally jealous of like people that drummers, a lot of drummers and percussion players I know that play tabla.
Yeah.
I know the basics of the counting system. There's a book that Sean in our band introduced me to called "You Can Takadimi This."
Oh yeah, that's Takadimi. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole book of rhythm exercises. You don't even need an instrument to get through the book. It's just like voice and exercises, what you could do with a metronome kind of thing,
Cool.
saying the syllables. So I've worked through that book, and I'm familiar with the rhythms in that sense, but I don't know I don't know the techniques of
Yeah.
playing the
Right.
tabla. And then this other drum that I play, Kanjira, it has a similar like technique of having vocal syllables for the notes you play.
Oh, interesting.
And I've taken some lessons on that and studied that a little bit more. So some of those elements definitely creep into the band, and we use stuff like that. But Yeah, man. Maybe one day I'll get to like digging into the tabla because I totally feel you on that. Like I have so much respect for drummers that dig into that because it's not like the something like the bongos where it's like if you can play drums,
Right.
it's like, oh, give me the bongos. I can make those
Yeah.
sound good.
Right.
You give a drummer a tabla and they've never played them before,
No.
they got nothing. Yeah.
No.
It's a whole different instrument, you
It
know?
really, really is, man.